Very good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on where and when you're watching us from. My name is Mutathio Shirawanyaga, Mujirwa Baria Karigi, Dina Gwehoka Kumangogo Silvia Shumaga Huho, Muridayo, Dayo, Dayo. Today is a good day. It's the 13th day. The month is of September. The year is what we say the year of our Lord 2023. And we normally say when we're here in African Corner, it must be, it will be, it shall be a good time. Today we're talking about the African boy child chef. Some other time we were here with Rebecca and Mora. I don't know if you guys can remember. And we were talking about dine with culture. And there was a conversation that was coming out clearly that there is now the entry of the boy child to the kitchen. And we said we are going to have that conversation and see, how it will go and what are the thoughts, what are your thoughts about this topic. And so joining me tonight is a panel of Rebecca and Dunga, and also myself. Today, I have to represent the boy child inside and outside the kitchen. Now, all the way from the UK, let us hear Rebecca introduce herself. I know she's not new to the show, but maybe the person who's watching us for the first time, we can hear what she has for us tonight.
Okay. Hi, everybody again. It's great to be here once more with you guys. My name is Rebecca. I am currently based in the UK, but originally Kenya. I am professionally, I work in the field of pharmacy, so in healthcare, and that's me. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Rebecca, once again for honoring our invitation. Tunashukuru sana. And Dunga, tell us from Ngong Hills, how are you? Introduce yourself.
Good evening, Washira, and everyone else, and good afternoon and good morning from wherever and whenever you are watching from. My name is Dunga Peter Lilechi. I'm very glad to be here. I'm very excited for this topic, particularly because it's something that I enjoy doing as a person, as a boy, or as a young man. Something I enjoy doing. Yeah, so very excited to be here and very excited for this conversation. I'm a psychologist and a child enthusiast or child protection enthusiast, and also a member of the Washira Speaks team. So you can bet we're going to make this interesting.
Yep. Thank you, Dunga, for being here. We appreciate it. Today you're not behind the scenes, you are in front of the camera. So welcome this side.
Yes.
Now we're going to go direct to hear. Let us hear from Rebecca. Are African men or men really better chefs or cooks compared to women? And not only tell us about the African men, but also men in particular. In general, even the men in UK. Do you think that men are better chefs or cooks than women?
In a professional capacity, as we know that men have been seen to be much better professionally. But that is up for debate. We'll talk about that soon. But professionally, it is well known that men have been found to be better chefs professionally. Yeah.
What about non-professionally?
Non-professionally, men, they can cook. Yes. Even the chef that can cook professionally very, very well, when he goes home, something happens. He just puts his tools down, like, oh yeah, someone cook for me. But unprofessionally, I would say women then can take over that field then. But yes, there's a debate there. But
I hear you are trying to be diplomatic with your answer, and I appreciate it, But let me hear from you, Dunga. You have said you are one person who I know, actually not said, but I also know that you really enjoy cooking and all that. So you are a perfect example of the entry of the boy child into the kitchen. And let us just hear from you. What do you think are the reasons? Our culture as Africans do not really help us do that. It's actually the opposite. Men should be out of the kitchen. So the culture, do you think it's because of the culture, being eroded in some way? Or maybe you can just tell us how do men these days find themselves in the kitchen? And maybe you can also give us your example, if you don't mind.
Okay, allow me to choose violence this once. I think it's because of empowerment, empowerment of women. So in the African culture that you call African culture, it was the man to provide, and it was the woman to take care of the family. So you find that in the past, it was just natural that the woman was supposed to do all the house chores, including cooking. And whether, okay, as roles began to evolve and women also found themselves out there in the field and they're also looking for means of living for the family, still when they went back home, they're supposed to be cooking for the family. And even it was very difficult for the men to find themselves in the kitchen because it was not considered man. But these days, the women have discovered that not only can they also go out there and earn a living, but they can also, the men can also assist the men can also assist in their roles. So what I can say is that gender roles are starting to, um, I don't know if the right word is to diversify, such that men are no longer exclusive to providing for the family, and women are no longer exclusive to house chores. That's why you find sometimes, especially you find that the homes for us, he will cook, even if he's not a good cook. Some of them, as long as the food is digestible, it will go inside their mouth and all the way to the stomach. But if but whether his cooking is good or it's not good, he's going to cook, or at the very least, he's going to wash the utensils. So I can say that could be one of the reasons. The other reason also could be, as I've said, women are also out there earning a living. So even to the men, it's not just the women demanding, but even to the men, you just find yourself thinking, no, it's unfair that the wife can come home at 8 p.m. and I was at home by 5 and I have to wait for her to come and cook for the family. So they just find themselves also trying to be supportive of the wife and whatever she's doing. And so they also find their way to the kitchen and prepare supper.
Dunga, I hear you, but please try and check your. I think your network is sort of breaking, so you can maybe try and check on that. But Rebecca, we are painting a picture. We have heard what Dunga said, that the men are now in the kitchen because of various reasons, and that is more so in Africa, where we're talking about culture, we're talking about the empowerment of the woman, of the girl child. So is that the same case for the people on the other side of this one? Are the men there getting in the kitchen? Have they been there all along? What is the tradition there?
Oh, the kitchen is just for everybody gets in the kitchen. You have to cook to survive. You have to eat. There's not so much heaviness on that cultural aspect of the kitchen's for women, or the kitchen is predominantly not for a certain gender. It's very natural to see a man cooking, cleaning. In fact, it's even encouraged because of the society. And as Dunga mentioned, you're both going to work and you're both coming in at the same time, or even when the man might come in early. So what's stopping you from going in and cooking, so there is the cultural aspect, but then there's also like the traditional cultures as well, that of course Africa, that we have those traditions that, a man should not be seen in the kitchen, or it's very rare. But here it's not the same. It's not the case at all. Men, women, children, everybody's in the kitchen, because you just have to eat when you can, survive, keep it moving, because the day just goes so fast. So you have to just do as you can and support each other in the best way. Yeah.
Okay. I hear you. But Dunga, in Africa it's different, and you have talked about it, about our culture. When you're seen in the kitchen too much, you're said to be feminine. So what has changed? What do you think about that, Dunga?
Okay, first of all, being in the kitchen is not feminine, and I'm saying that from a personal experience of my dad probably being second, being second in our home when it comes to cooking. Of course, the first is my mom. He's not yet taking that baton, but he's a very good cook. He's a very good cook. I especially used to enjoy his omena. People who hate omena, they tell them you just haven't had the right cook. So it is not feminine. I've seen him in the kitchen. I've seen him cooking, and I know being a man in the kitchen is it's nowhere near making you feminine. Yeah, actually, I think it's important to have an extra skill set in your arsenal as a man.
Okay. So there is nothing feminine there at all, according to you and whatever the people say out here.
No. I think it's just something that you're being labeled by society, by I'd say people who are afraid to explore they are afraid to explore the unknown, because gender roles are changing in this society. You know, we are no longer in the past where men used to go and hunt and raid villages and bring home food. You see, these days you can even work from home. And I can imagine probably the reason why they were not being given house chores back then is because of all the taxing work that they had to go and do out there. But these days, if you can earn your millions from sitting at your desk, I think the least you can do is to stretch your arms and legs a little bit. Okay, you can take a walk, you can go ride a bike, you can also go and fix yourself a meal in the kitchen. And we're not just talking about a family setup, we're also talking about men who, let's say, bachelors. There are some men who just don't cook in their homes. They'd rather go to a hotel and buy food instead of cooking for yourself, you see. So it is even saving on money when you cook for yourself compared to going to a hotel. And that's what I'm saying. Gender roles have changed, and we cannot stick to what was prescribed for men in the past. Right now, you can do something else that was not for men back then. And in this case, of course, we're talking specifically about cooking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Dunga. Can see Kimani Mongi saying that it's great to be here. Interesting discussion. I also see Sao saying that very interesting discussion in my community. The norms well stipulates the roles of men and women. It's not taboo to find a man cooking unless otherwise. Now, Rebecca, I bring yourself now to this part of the world, not physically, but put yourself in an African setup. And imagine now where now even these days women have become more breadwinners than the men in some households. And now you find that the man now has become more of the person who stays at home and takes care of the family, and basically that means he's the cook. Now, do you think then it will be fair for somebody from, let's say, from the community of Esau here, that your wife comes back? According to you, do you think it is fair your wife comes back and you expect her now to still be the cook of the house? What do you think about that?
Yeah, so in that sense, then there's been a reversal, shall we say, of roles. So then if one person is going out to get the bread, to win the bread, as we say, and then the other person's at home, then the person at home can, in essence, take care of that domestic side overall, and then the other person can support financially. So they've now kind of switched roles, but they're still doing their parts, which is fine. As long as a man doesn't mind doing that and he enjoys cooking, enjoys doing those things, why not? But at least in your part of the country, at least you have the luxury of, maybe if he is not comfortable with that, there can be an house help that can help with those additional things, where here is a very, very expensive. It wouldn't even have that because it's so expensive. It's not even think of that. It's very, very, the rich have that. So you guys have an advantage. You can hire someone to do that more affordably. If the man's not comfortable doing that, but if he enjoys doing that, I don't see why not. As a support to the wife working, and of course she might in the weekend when she's not tired, get in the kitchen, do a little something in the weekend when she's free. Why not? It's also you think about what's the overall picture is for everyone to be fed, healthy, happy, growing, surviving. If that target is met, whoever is doing it and doing it well, let's just do it. Yeah.
Okay. So Dunga, if you are looking at that, and now the man is here in the kitchen, the entry of the boy child in the kitchen as you're putting it tonight, and especially in an African setup, do you think the African man, now the chef in this case, or the cook, is here to stay, or is just something that one day will fade away, or this person is here to stay in the kitchen? Do you think it is something that one day will fade away and you find that the women are back? Or what do you think about that?
Okay, first of all, I think I should make my position clear. I support men being in the kitchen, but I also support the idea that wives should cook for their husbands. Let's get that clear first of all. So, with regards to that, I think that men will stay in the kitchen, but the women will still be there. They will always be there because a woman's primal instinct is to care for her family, to care for her loved ones. And cooking is one of the many ways you care for a loved one. They say that the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So as a woman, if you know how to cook, you have a very big edge in terms of competition for men. So I think the boys, yes, they will be in the kitchen and the numbers will increase. But I also think that the women, probably they're going to feel challenged. I don't know. But I also know that the women, they are not leaving the kitchen anytime soon. Yes. Roles are not going to reverse 100%. The women are still going to probably be the best chefs for a few more years to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just following from what Dunga said, Rebecca, ladies and women these days have said that cooking is not their jobs. Cooking for their husbands, and he can cook for himself. What what do you think about that? And is that the case also there where you are?
Oh dear me. Yes, we hear that a lot. Like, oh, you have hands too, don't you? So you can also cook. So
Yes,
I think we're
exactly.
looking at two different. There's two things at play here. There's culture, and also there is religion as well, coming into that, talking about what the Bible roles of the woman and the man, what is expected of each person, what are the gender roles that God made for each person to fulfill. And as Dunga was saying, that a woman is a nurturer, she's the one that feeds the baby both in her body, and also that now translates to the family in terms of cooking, making that food provision as well. So I would say sometimes the way women are brought up, or girls are brought up, traditionally brought up to learn how to cook and to know how to cook, but these days some priorities have shifted and that has not been at the forefront. So unfortunately these days, it's not that they don't want to cook. Sometimes it's because sometimes they don't even know how to cook, because it's not been made a priority for them to learn about it. Other things have taken over. So when you hear that, sometimes it's I think that I can't actually cook as well. So it's not my job only. The man can also jump in, or the man can take it over solely, because myself, I don't know how to. Even if I know how to, he can do as well, 50-50. But I feel like maybe the woman should cook and the man can also support in that as well, because it's a life skill. At the end of the day, it's a life skill for survival, because sometimes the woman might have to travel, sometimes the woman will not be around, sometimes the woman may be sick, and the man may have to take over for a season. So not saying that all the time the man should cook, saying that the woman is the primary person. However, the man can also support in that, and also helping the household, and also being an example to the children, that is especially the boys coming up, as we were talking about before, bachelors, and even when young men go to university, that they are not held ransom because of food, because they don't have that life skill to do that. Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think that puts the family set up in a situation that might not be really good? I know, especially my friends from Western, they can divorce because their wives are saying that they are not going to cook for them. Do I say that is the fastest way to get? I mean, a way to the man's heart is through the stomach. So
Yes.
yeah, you can say that it's good, it's fair, but now there are some families and households that depend on the woman to cook, whether or not
Mm,
they're
mm,
breadwinners.
mm. So I would
Mm,
say, as I said, for me, the woman should cook. Definitely, I agree with that. But the man can also support some once in a while, like weekends, breakfast in bed, something. She can't just do it alone. She will it
mm,
will kill her if she's working plus cooking every day. Come on,
mm.
just help small little.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
come in the kitchen, chop onion for me as we talk.
Mm,
The food is for
mm,
you, so help me help you. The more you make it enjoyable for me, I'll make it very.
yeah.
So you two just get involved a little bit, and then we can work together. It's just working together, teamwork to make the dream work. Definitely, yeah.
Indeed. Yeah, I hear you. I hope somebody from Western will be telling us what their thoughts are either live or later. But Dunga, it's indeed true. Now we are seeing there is an entry of the boy child into the kitchen, not only professionally as chefs, but even in normal household setups. And we have seen, men becoming enthusiastic about this. You have said you yourself, you are one of an example. What do you think is now happening so that we see men are now becoming very enthusiastic? Is it that our culture ilikuwa imetufunga ama ilikuwa imewafunga? What explains this shift into the kitchen?
Um, okay, so yet again, I'll speak from personal experience. The interest that men have gained um, in cooking, let me say that the interest that men have gained in cooking, from my own personal experience, I can say it's because it started from a young age. So you find that for anything that you've been taught from a young age, unless you just sincerely hated it grows on you and it becomes almost like a second nature. So that's what happened to me. And with other people, I guess we can say that uh, in this current age, it is something that just people are more into trends. So I don't know if you can say trends. Like I had a friend in high school who used to be a very good follower of the Chef Ali. I don't know if you know him. Chef Ali. He used to be a very good follower of him, and that's what made him want to be interested in cooking, want to be interested in the kitchen. So we can also put that in the mix. People wanting to follow the trends. As you were asking that question, I was thinking of this guy. His name escapes me. This guy who was a rugby player and is now the traveling chef. His name escapes me. I can't say his motivation for wanting to become a chef, but I think it's also because right now it's coming intrinsically. That is, people are enjoying cooking for what it is. It is not a role that was imposed on them. Like you couldn't possibly you couldn't really say that women enjoyed cooking back then because it was their role. They had to do it. There was nobody else to do it. But right now, somebody enjoys cooking because they enjoy it, not for any other reason. They cook because they enjoy doing it. So I guess what that's also a contributing factor, and also the fact that men these days, people are more accepting with what men are doing. It is not okay. Maybe the stereotype is still there that man cooking is feminine, but it is not as it was. It was not as serious as it used to be, say, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Right now,
Yeah.
people are more accepting. Right now, people are more, they, I don't want to say they don't care what you do, but it is not really a big deal to see a man cooking, you see.
Okay.
So for a man, when you enjoy cooking, um, people are accepting of what you are doing, and most of all, if it brings in money also as a career opportunity, then you find that most men now they are looking at it both professionally and even in their own homes. they are looking at it as something that they can just do without stressing it out. So
Okay.
that's, in my opinion, that's what I think is what is inviting. It's more like men are being invited to the kitchen, and yeah, something like that. Not them explore. It's more like they're being invited to the kitchen by these factors.
Okay. I hear you. Thank you for that, Dunga. Thank you for your sentiments. I can see Piego and Hillary saying that interesting discussion. Men aren't leaving the kitchen yet. Imagine Gen Z now most stay alone, especially men, and on the other side, most ladies don't cook. It's takeout only. So and then we have a South saying that he'll watch the full discussion later. Big up Oshira and the guest. Thank you. Today is a really brief discussion that we're having. We're just extrapolating what we were talking about the last time. So we just wanted to understand how the entry of the boy child into the kitchen has been. What are your thoughts on this? And maybe just to wrap it up, I'd like to hear Rebecca's final thoughts as we are wrapping this discussion on the entry of especially the African boy child into the kitchen. What does this mean moving even forward into the future? Are we going to see some changes even in the industry, this food industry, and all that? So, Rebecca.
Yeah, I think it's a really good change, I would say, in terms of just giving that life skill to boys and men and breaking those barriers in terms of like, oh, a man should not be in the kitchen or be seen in the kitchen. Is that taboo? It should not be, as in the man should be able to do all chores in the house very relatively easily and be an example to the children as well. In terms of cooking, I think it's very, very vital going into the future, for where even for health's sake and maintaining the health of self and children and family, and being that example of a manhood, total manhood, without any reservations, without any boundaries. It's not now becoming that it's your role now, but it's a good to have. It's a nice to have. It's a supporting tool. Especially as jobs changing, if someone's more at home most times, why not? You can just jump in the kitchen, help each other out. I think it's very, very vital, and it's exciting, even as they move into those careers, as well as they open up, and that it should be encouraged from a young age. Like the thing of like when children are playing with toys, and then the baby girl gets the oven, the little fake oven and the cooking stuff. The boy gets the toys, the cars. Like, so even from the young age, encourage them to both learn to cook, nutrition, understanding food, and then we'll see the results of that later on, the fruits of that, and it's a good, healthy change. Yeah.
Thank you, Rebecca, for that. And maybe let's hear from you, Dunga. As you're wrapping up this brief conversation tonight, what does it mean now for Africa, and especially for African men, that we are now seeing the entry of the boy child in the kitchen, moving forward to the future? Dunga.
Okay. What I'd like to say is, for a man, it's a very big plus if you can assimilate any skill set, and cooking is one of these skills. So if you're a man, you can look for a job, you can hustle, as they say, and also you can cook. So it's a big plus for you, and definitely not something to degrade somebody about. So for Africa, I think it's something that is very, very it's something that is going to really put us out there, because I'm somebody who really likes African cuisine. I find them to be interesting. I find them to be delicious. We cannot just have only the women going out there and spreading our cuisine out there, because first and foremost, according to our culture, the one supposed to be taking care of the home. So we are going to use that. We are going to use that advantage as men to be the ones who are spreading the word of our African cuisine out there. So for every man who likes cooking, whenever you find yourself traveling, just take your recipe book with you and go and surprise these people with all this fine dining. Because, as I've said, it is an added skill set to your arsenal, and it is not something that to be ashamed about. So yeah, it is for Africa. It's big, and I can tell you for sure that in the coming years to come, in the coming years, men are going to be, they're going to be the best chefs. If they already are not the best chefs, in the coming years, they're going to be the best chefs, not just in Africa, but also in the world.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys, for your sentiments there. I want to appreciate everybody who has joined us live, and anybody else who will be watching this later. Continue subscribing, sharing, and commenting. And in a very special manner, allow me to thank Rebecca and Dunga for sparing their time to come and have this brief conversation, extrapolated from what we had before, and hopefully that we can have even more in future. And with that, I'd like to say that my name is Mutathi Washirawanyaga, Mujiro Abari Akarigiri. Have a good night. Have a good time.